OBS is already one of the best free programs out there, but what if there was a way to make it even better? Here are 5 of my favorite OBS plugins that are all completely free. Before we get into this list, I want to give this one caveat that I am not a streamer, but I do have a background in live production, particularly in video. I'm friends with a number of streamers, and I used to be in the esports industry as a shoutcaster for League of Legends way back in the day. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the list. First up is Source Clone. Source Clone is basically a lightweight way to duplicate a source. Once you install the plugin, simply add a source like normal, and Source Clone should be available in the list. We'll go ahead and pick that and use our webcam as an example. So we'll choose our clone type, choose which canvas we're going to be pulling from, which will be relevant later, and then choose which source we want to clone. Then we can check or uncheck audio, change the video buffer, and we can change whether we want this to be our active clone or not. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the active clone button does, but if you figured it out, let me know down in the comments below. A couple of the key things that we can do with this clone now that we have it created, we can change the video buffer to be none, full, half, quarter, and so on. This is the resolution that the clone will render at. So if we're using our original webcam in full resolution in one scene, we can make the clone half or quarter resolution to make rendering it a little bit easier on our PC in another scene where the webcam might be smaller. But the main convenience I see for most people with Source Clone is being able to apply filters to the clone that don't carry over to the original source. So we can apply something like a border, a drop shadow, or a variety of other filters to this clone that do not apply to the original webcam clone. And if we want to make another source clone of the webcam to use in a different scene with different filters, we can do that too. This is great for being able to stack filters in one scene or in a particular context where that might be helpful without having to worry about that style carrying over everywhere where you might not want it. Our next plugin is Downstream Keyer. A downstream key is a very common feature in professional video switchers over a live or pre-recorded video source in real time. One of the handy things about a downstream key is that you're basically selecting a layer on top of the existing video feed that you're already outputting, so it works independently of the source underneath. An example of this in a professional setting might be for a sports scoreboard, a news ticker, or what we call a lower third in the industry, which is somebody's name or some information appearing as a graphic on the bottom third of the screen. Now you can do things similar to this in OBS with text layers and image sources and things like that, but having a downstream keyer allows these things to persist across scenes without you having to manage anything or have a million sources in a scene. To get this working, go to the Docs drop-down menu and select Downstream Keyer. Now you'll see this new window appear. You'll click this gear, click Add. You can name your key if you'd like. I've named my first one Alerts, and then you're going to click this plus button down in the bottom to add a source, and it will actually just add the scene you have selected in your main canvas down below. And I think the most useful thing here is being able to clean up the sources that you have across all of your different scenes. We're going to remove the alert source from each of our scenes and put it in the downstream keyer. Now they'll always appear in the same place when we do it this way, so if you need them in different places depending on your overlay, this might not be the right solution for you, but if you just want your alerts to appear in the same spot on every scene and it doesn't interfere with your game, then you can go ahead and do it this way, and you have one less source crowding out your scenes. Now you can do this with a lot of other things too, but I think one of the most powerful things is in more of a traditional broadcast setting. If you're doing something like esports, you can get an output from something like scoreboard software or some other external graphics software like this one that I have here called FreeShow. You can build all your graphic packages, text overlays, and everything in here and have it all appear through the downstream key. You build it one time in the separate software, and then you don't have to worry about managing it with OBS's less than stellar text tools. Now FreeShow can do an absolute ton, and you can build out your full graphics packages here, be able to see them very easily and visually, and be able to edit them easily as well. If you think FreeShow deserves its own video so I can talk about all of these features in a bit more depth, let me know down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like, let me know what you enjoyed about it in the comments, and consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Okay, on to the next plugin. Now these next couple are a little bit of a lightning round because they're pretty simple to set up and the way that they work, but I think they're really powerful. So next up is Move. From what I've gathered online, Move seems like it might be one of the most popular OBS plugins in existence. So if you already heard of this one, sorry, but I still think it's really cool and I think it deserves every spotlight it gets. Move simply adds a new transition to your OBS, so we'll set it up first. Go ahead and install the plugin, open OBS, and open your transitions panel if you don't have it open already. Go ahead and add a new transition and select Move, and go ahead and change your active transition to Move. Now, when you go between scenes that have the same source in them, like your webcam, for example, you can see that even unique sources are animated in and out, but especially something like the webcam is going to be nicely animated to move from one position to to another. And that's really the basics of Move. If you just like how this looks by default, then go ahead and use that. But if you jump into the properties, there's a lot of different settings you can tweak. You can choose how Move targets different sources. You can change the timing, easing, and so much more. We could get really into the weeds if we went over all these settings. So just play around with them, see what you like, get it tweaked to a way that you like how it looks, and enjoy the extra layer of polish that this adds to each and every one of your streams. Next up is another relatively simple one that you can customize to your heart's content if you want, and that is Junior Docky, I think is how you say it. I'm not entirely sure. Junior Docky basically allows you to create saved layouts of your OBS window. So if you like to have all of your chats up and see your canvas and all of these different things when you're streaming, or if you like to have a different layout when you're recording without your chats and more controls visible, you can do that. There's a lot of different options here, and you can customize it to your heart's content. To use this plugin, by default, it goes to the docs window, but you can actually go into the settings and customize where it appears. And in my case, it goes to its own dropdown called doc sets at the end of the list. Go ahead and customize OBS to be whatever you need it to be and save those doc sets for easy recall later. All right, we're on to the last main one. There is a bonus one at the end of this as well, and that is Atom Vertical. Atom Vertical is super powerful, and you probably heard of Atom already. They've made some banger plugins for OBS in the last couple of years, and I recently just learned about them a few months ago, so I was a little out of the loop on that. My bad. It allows you to create a second canvas in your OBS for portrait or vertical output. It lets you make it whatever you need it to be. If you intend to stream, just record, or clip highlights from this second canvas, you can do any or all of those things, all without affecting your original OBS canvas or changing your output resolution. So this one's a little bit more complicated, so I'm gonna record myself going through this full setup rather than just do B-roll and jump into VoiceOver Brian now. So let's talk about how to install Atom Vertical real quick. So you'll wanna go to atom.tv, which is going to be linked down in the description below, and you're gonna wanna click on products. Now, they have a few different options now. They have this vertical plugin that we're talking about. They have a multi-stream plugin. And then they also have Stream Suite, which is everything built in, but it kind of blows up your OBS layout. So I would be careful of that. Maybe use the previously mentioned plugin to back up your docs setup before you install it, but just know what you're getting into. It might do a little bit more than you need. It might be overcomplicated for you. All we're talking about is vertical today. They also have the Atom app. They also have the Atom app, which is all about automations and triggers and stuff like that, things that can tie in with your viewers to make it more interactive on your stream, or to fire off different things automatically so you have to manage your stream less, but that comes with a subscription, so let's not worry about that today either. We're going to go up here to products and vertical real quick. You're going to click download vertical for free right here. Make sure you have a proper OBS version of at least 30 or higher. You're going to get an installer to download. You're going to run that with OBS closed, of course, and then you're going to open up OBS once the installer is complete. Once you install Atom Vertical, you're going to want to open OBS like I just said, and if you don't see the vertical canvas on the right-hand side of your screen right here, like I have, you'll want to go up to docs if you don't see it, and you're going to want to make sure that you have vertical scenes, and sources checked. Once you have all of those docs open up, you're going to want to come down to vertical scenes and create a new scene, because you're not going to have one. We're not going to name ours anything in particular. And then you're going to want to come down to vertical sources as well, because it'll probably just look like this in your vertical canvas, which is nothing. So you're going to come down here, and we're just going to go ahead and add my webcam in, and the webcam is actually listed as the existing source that's already in my main canvas. And that is true of everything. If we go back in here to add another source, then we go to game capture, you can see all the game capture sources that I have created in the past, and the same for display capture and browser sources and audio capture and whatever else. Everything that you created in your main canvas is easily listed there for the vertical canvas to create an exact duplicate. So you cannot copy paste things from the sources or scenes menu from your main canvas to vertical, but when you go to add things manually, the existing items are all listed there, just like if you were adding additional scenes to your main canvas. So it does make it quite convenient. Once you have that configured the way that you want, you're going to want to make sure that the plugin will actually do something for you. So you're going to come over here and click this gear icon underneath your vertical canvas, which in my case is highlighted in orange for some reason. I think it's because I have an update. This is your vertical settings. This is a separate settings menu from your main settings. This is only for your vertical canvas. So from here, you can set your resolution, your audio bitrate, change what your virtual camera does, turn a backtrack on and off, which is the replay buffer feature built into OBS. You can configure your streaming if you don't have multi-stream installed.
you will set all of that from here, but ADA Multistream is installed in my case, so all of the settings are moved over there. Similar for recording as well. All of your settings are here, all your hotkeys, split times, video bit rate, recording path, all of that kind of stuff. And then they have help where they have some guides, they have a Discord, they have a troubleshooter, stuff like that. The main thing that I use ADA Vertical for in my very brief stint as a gaming content creator was for Backtrack. So Backtrack is the replay buffer in OBS, using that to package up small video files, video clips of a vertical version of what I'm recording on my main canvas and spitting it out so I can easily upload it to YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. That's the main benefit that I see for it. If you want to stream on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Twitch Vertical, whenever that comes out or something as well, you can do all of that with this plugin as well. If you enable multi-stream, you can stream to all of them. But the main thing I use it for is Backtrack. So I have 90-second Backtrack set up, and then when I record a Backtrack, it goes to this recording path, which is videos/clips in my case, and it's all saved with this hotkey. So if I hit Control Page Up while I have Backtrack running, it'll clip the last 90 seconds, up to 90 seconds of my recording or streaming or whatever, since I have Backtrack turned on, and it will spit out a file right there that'll just look something like this. This is an example of a recording that I did with ADA Vertical a while ago. This is just a highlight. This is about a 90-second clip of some gameplay with my webcam, with a background, with all of that while I was streaming on Twitch. So makes it really easy, really convenient, really simple. I can just drag this clip into my video editor, trim it down to the 15 or 30 seconds of it that are actually good, and then upload it straight to TikTok or whatever. You can also add additional sources here, just like anything else. So you could add a text source that cites your Twitch, so that when you're streaming on TikTok or recording your clips, that your Twitch handle is mentioned there, but only on your vertical stream. It doesn't have to appear on your main canvas and cause any confusion or add any additional clutter to your viewers' experience. And all of that is really nice. And once you have all of that set up, you're all ready to go. So you can now stream, record, or make highlights vertical. Oh, when you're trying to use Backtrack, though, you want to make sure that you actually turn it on. So you do have to click this Backtrack on button right here, which is supposed to be a little checkbox. I don't think it appears quite right on the darker mode that I have OBS in. But in any case, you want to check this, make sure Backtrack is on, is actually checked, and that this button here, these buttons are both blue, and then you are actually all set and ready to go. And now when I hit my hotkey, which is Control Page Up, I will create another clip right here. Boom, there's the canvas recorded exactly like I said in the last 23 seconds since I had turned Backtrack on. Super, super cool, super easy way to crank out additional content to help grow your stream or YouTube channel.
And last but certainly not least, a bonus honorary mention that's not a plugin is Video Ninja. Video Ninja is super powerful. And I don't know if it's necessarily underrated or if a lot of people know about it, but I definitely feel like it deserves a moment in the spotlight regardless. It's allowed you to share video and audio over the internet directly into OBS. You just load it in as a browser source. It's really easy to use, it's really powerful, and it's completely free. There's no downloads, there's no sign in, there's no option to make an account or anything like that. It just works. So there are a couple areas I think this might be useful. My first exposure to it was with esports, but you could really use it for anything where you have multiple perspectives that you might want to show. If you're doing a big charity live stream, or you're doing a podcast where you have multiple guests and you want their webcams and audio to go right into OBS and not have to deal with like Discord and trying to crop things correctly and things like that, you can set all this stuff up right in Video Ninja by just creating a group. You can even create a permanent link that your friends or guests can keep going back to and keep sharing the same outputs straight to the same link, so you don't even have to change the link in your OBS. You can add arguments in the URL and do all of these crazy things, and it even works from your phone. There's a lot of different possibilities with this, and it doesn't even end there, because virtual camera in OBS means that you can have people set up a scene however you want, and then they can share that as a webcam source through Video Ninja, and you can get that in, so then you can get their gameplay and webcam.
Editing Brian here with an important note of something I did not mention in my original recording. All of the B-roll that you've seen of me interacting with OBS and setting up these plugins has actually been recorded through Video Ninja. If you notice, when I was showing you ADA Vertical in my browser, I actually had an additional tab open here, which you can see, which was Video Ninja sharing my screen in full to my laptop to record into OBS on my laptop so that I don't have to send the file over afterwards. But I also wanted to do this to mostly prove to you that Video Ninja is amazing and the quality is incredible. I'm streaming at 1080p 60 to my laptop right now, and it's truly insane how good this looks. There's so many tools that come with this. It's mind-blowing. I cannot believe this is free. I don't know how this exists in 2026. We've come a long way from unregistered HyperCam 2 or trying to crack fraps from back in the day to just record something on our computers to be able to upload it to YouTube. There's so many amazing free tools out there. Definitely check this one out. Okay, back to Recorded Brian.
You should definitely check it and all of the other plugins I mentioned in this video today down in the link in the description. So these are just a few of my favorite recent plugins for OBS. Obviously, there's a ton of tools out there and everybody streams a little bit differently, but hopefully I highlighted some that will be useful for you or maybe you weren't as familiar with in this video. Let me know in the comments below how you're going to use your favorite plugin from this video, and if I missed anything and you'd like to see a part 2, let me know down in the comments below as well. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.